don't seem to care. This world isn't big enough to keep me away from you. Oh, from you. Seabird, fly home. Seabird, seabird, fly home. Like a lonely seabird, you've been away from land too long. Oh, too long. Little seabird, 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 fly home. Oh, hi there. I'm Aleris, back with another pick a card reading. Yeah, it's been a while. I've been sort of hibernating in my home. Welcome to my bathtub. Yeah, today I've been, sorry, you sort of caught me off guard because I've just been having a bath. And I've had this song in my head for so long, ever since the beautiful Pink Supermoon. I've been having very vivid dreams. And whenever I have these vivid dreams, there's always this song in the back of my head that wakes me up. And it's the song I was singing. I haven't heard it for years. I think it's called Seabird. If anyone knows anything about dreams or is a sort of dream prophecy sort of expert, I would love to know their interpretation of that, because I'm sure it resonates for someone or the collective, or even just for me. So please do comment below. I'll give a free pick a card reading, personal reading for my favourite dream interpretation of the Seabird song. Yeah, so basically, welcome to my bathtub. I've been spending a lot of time in here. I've been drinking in here, I've been eating in here, I've been sort of pondering in here. This is my favourite space. You know, I live in a house, I don't have a garden, but I've been bringing these beautiful little plants back home with me whenever I go. I go for about one walk a day, and when I'm out on my walk, I just sort of like connect with nature and really sort of connect in with the plants. Sometimes they speak to me, sometimes they just sort of like reassure me. They might have a nice word to say, and so I'll just get my secateurs out and I'll just snip them, bring them home so they can kind of keep me company, because I've been very lonely all by myself and I really need some love. So, you know, plants are a really good way to just top yourself up with good energy, and you just get so revitalized from them. So yes, these are my friends. I really recommend sort of like doing these little things to make yourself feel good, you know, simple pleasures. It's all about the simple pleasures. Going for a walk, you know, it's very easy just to sit in front of a Netflix or something and just sort of like try and avoid, you know, your own thoughts. But that's not what this time is all about. This time is about really connecting in with your thoughts. And if you are binge watching series on TV, as soon as you sort of like turn that series off, you're back into your own anxiety. Nothing's changed. You've just sort of like distracted yourself. And distraction is fine, don't get me wrong, no judgment. It's whatever makes you feel good is good. But I really do suggest like getting out in nature if you can, just once a day for a walk, and finding a transitional space, you know, song, dance, painting, gardening, if you have a garden, walking, just anything where it's a transitional space, calling up a friend, talking can be a transitional space, but just really anything where you're getting the emotions that you are feeling out of you and into this temporary space so it can be transmuted, rather than just distracting yourself. So yes, I've really been enjoying my bathtub. Really grateful for my bathtub. It's good to know what you're grateful for in life. I like to write myself a list every morning of, you know, 3 things I'm grateful for, and the bathtub is always top of the list. I've really been enjoying keeping myself clean and knowing that that's something that I can do for myself to give myself some sense of looking after myself at this time, and not only just physically cleaning myself, but emotionally. I find that the bathtub is a really good place to come to purge emotions, and I like to sort of throw some things in the bathtub. You know, maybe you have a favorite crystal, just throw that in, and you can put all your crystals in your bathtub, and that will recharge them, especially if you throw in some Epsom salts. You could make some bath bombs for yourself. I made some, but I gave my last two to someone who I don't think really appreciated them, but you know, hopefully it brought them some joy. I hope they did use them. It's a good time to use them. So yes, you can put some bath bombs in your bathtub, Epsom salts, your crystals, anything like that. It will really charge you up. And as you're in the bathtub meditating with your crystals, not only are they getting recharged, you're getting recharged. And I also think that anything that you're really kind of like contemplating while you're in the bath, then when you like allow the water to drain out of your bathtub, you can just visualize all of those worries, those anxieties, those thoughts, and just see them all draining away with that bath water. And that's just a really good way of letting go. Today, surrender and letting go are going to come up. These are two very common self-care sort of practices. But how do we let something go? It helps to visualize sometimes. And for me, the bathtub is a place where I can just let go in all senses. Also, you know, pour a bit of champagne in every now and then, some milk, you know, you can spice it up and make it a very sort of exciting and sensual experience for yourself. So if you're alone without a lover at this time, you know, there are things you can do in the bathtub as well that will really bring you some kind of satisfaction. Anyway, I sort of got off piste. I think Nathaniel North likes to come in. He's one of my guides. He's a notorious Bermudian pirate, actually, and of course he loves it whenever I'm talking about the water, mermaids and all of these things, because I love the sea, and I haven't been able to get to the sea, and I'm very heartbroken about that. So, you know, the next best thing is to bring the sea to myself via my bathtub. Anyway, where were we? So today, another pick a card reading. There'll be two decks to choose from today, two piles to choose from today. I've created some special new paintings for everyone, an oracle deck all about self-care, so I'll be using some of those cards today, and my major arcana alchemical tarot deck I'll also be using. I used to use other decks to clarify, but you know, seeing as this is all about self-love and self-care, I thought, I'm just going to concentrate on the things that I've done myself today. So let's go ahead and choose the piles. If you haven't been to a pick a card reading before, then basically I'm going to show you a couple of objects in a second, and whichever one you're drawn to will correlate to pile 1 and pile 2, and then there will be timestamps in the description box below which will take you directly to your reading. You might be drawn to both piles, that's absolutely fine. And I must just say, take what resonates, leave the rest. You know, the cards are just a mirror to your own subconscious, so if it resonates, you knew it within yourself. Also, just know that if something comes up and it's triggering, or it makes you anxious, or whatever you're feeling, really, just know that whatever you're feeling, you're healing. So, you know, at this time, anything that's coming up, just know that you're healing that, okay? And just, you know, take the message and feel peaceful. So now let's just do a couple of deep breaths to get us all in the right mind frame to choose our piles. So I'm going to just hit my singing bowl, and I want you to breathe in when I hit it. And then when I hit it the next time, breathe out. Okay, so everyone now breathe in. And breathe out. And when you're breathing in and out, I like to visualize that I'm breathing in a healing white light, and when I'm breathing out, it's a sort of negative dark light. So let's just do that a couple of times, okay? Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. Wonderful. Okay. So now let's choose your piles. So, two choices today. We've got two different shells for you. First shell is just a sort of standard seashell. I actually picked this up on the beach in Whitstable. And the second shell is a oyster shell, which is a souvenir from a romantic dinner I had with a lover. So, I mean, that might resonate, or maybe you'll just be drawn to one of the shells, or maybe you'll be drawn to one or two. So One is the seashell, standard seashell, and two is the oyster shell, okay? So let's get straight ahead. If you chose number 2, look in the description box below, you'll find a link straight to your reading. But for everyone who chose the standard sort of seashell, let's go ahead with pick a card reading number 1. So I just want to say, actually, I'm thinking about this seashell and what it might mean that you were drawn to it, right? So this is the type of shell that people put to their ear and they say, oh, I can hear the sea within the shell. Of course, that's not actually accurate. You're hearing your own eardrum. But the point is, it's this experience with an object that gives you an encounter, right? And it's all to do with intuition and archetype. So someone who's never actually even heard the sea in their whole life, someone who could have been living within a mass of land their entire life, can put a shell to their ear and they will hear that sound and they will be told that is the sound of the sea. So you can hear the sea within a shell without ever hearing it in reality. Now that is an interesting thought. What is real or not? You can have an experience based on illusionary phenomenon that is as real as a real genuine experience, maybe even more magical. So that's just an interesting thought, isn't it? And I think it really is to do with intuition, and it's to do with this idea of creating beauty from something. It's to do with belief, it's to do with a kind of childlike, nostalgic faith and hope in something. And so maybe for this pile, your intuition is important. Maybe there's something about hearing, needing to listening for things that aren't obvious, but in closer inspection, you know, they resonate. It's about things resonating with you that other people may just dismiss. I think it's very important to listen to your intuition, especially within these readings. You know, I can't tell you anything that you don't know yourselves, and the best way to create the future is to predict the future. Oh no, I always get that the wrong way around. The best way to create the best way to predict the future is to create the future. So, you know, we have the power to shape our reality, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm a bit tongue-tied. Anyway, let's get back into the reading. So, the first card out is from my Major Arcana Alchemical Tarot deck, and it's the beautiful Hermit card. Here, I've shown the Hermit in the alchemical sort of process. So in the alchemical process, the Hermit would be sort of seen as the king in his Laconian bath. Now, this king goes into this bath in order to free himself from a coating of melancholia. Now, this is sort of clinging to his body, this melancholia. And this vaporous bath is a sort of circular process which distills and cleanses him of his impurities. And this sort of leads to this recovery from depression. And it's a part of the nigredo, which is the alchemical process of the darkening, and this links to depression. And so psychologically speaking, this is all to do with changes in the psyche, and during the process of change, this individual may kind of draw away from others. They might feel lonely, they might go inwards, and they might experience sort of extreme stasis and depression. But, you know, within this darkness, there can be found light. So if you are feeling a little bit lonely at the moment, know that you're doing the right thing. You should be alone with your thoughts, and it will lead into this more kind of transformational time. And, you know, the reading today is called What Needs to be Healed. And I think a major part of what needs to be healed for you is that you do need this time alone to realize that you have this intuition and you haven't been listening to it. So you really need to put that seashell to your ear, and you need to hear what it's going to say to you. You know, I need to listen to my plants. We all have these guides around us, and they will give us messages. You know, ask the universe for signs, and you will find that you're given them. So your next card out is from my very newly painted Self-Care Oracle card deck. And this is the beautiful Oracle healing card of taking a healing crystal bath. And this is just what I was talking about earlier, but, you know, I would like to add some other suggestions to this. You know, you see this beautiful gold seashell, starfish with this mermaid. And maybe you could try a gold leaf face mask. You know, that's a great way to make yourself feel kind of good about yourself. You know, it's nice to feel, to do something that makes you feel special, isn't it? Especially if you're alone, you know, it's nice to just do these things just for yourself. So I recommend gold leaf face mask, rose quartz in the bath, bath bombs, eating chocolate, drinking champagne in the bath, champagne bath, milk bath. I mean, really, you can do whatever you like. But I think just do something that's out of the usual and that just makes you feel special. And I actually have a very funny story of the last time I opened a bottle of champagne. I've been alone for over a month and very lonely, and someone sent me a really beautiful bottle of champagne for a special occasion to cheer me up. And I was just having a day where I wasn't really in my right alignment, and I was rushing around, and I had a cheap bottle of Prosecco in the fridge, which I can easily sink a bottle of Prosecco alone every day at the moment. I don't know about you guys, but you know, that's fine, whatever makes you feel good, you know. That's fine, but no judgment, especially from me. But you know, I was really saving the champagne for a special occasion, and accidentally, and in a very throwaway way, opened it, and I thought, oh, that's quite an extreme cork opening for a Prosecco. And then I realised, oh my God, I opened the really special champagne, and I was waiting until I had company to drink it. And as that cork popped out, it's almost like I had this release as well. There was this physical release of the cork which prompted this emotional outpouring, and everything that I'd been just sort of like storing up, it just went with the cork, had a major meltdown. But I then just got the champagne bottle, threw it in the bath, started drinking it in the bath, had a champagne bath, and you know, made it into a celebration. And it was actually even better that I had it alone than if I'd waited for the person to drink it with, because you know, it was this beautiful moment. And the whole point is you can turn a negative into a positive, you know. So you know, and also that's all about feeling overwhelmed, isn't it? These things were welling up and up and up, and then this release. And so the best thing to try and do, just to make yourself, just a bit, not best, but a thing you can do to make it easier for yourself, is just to kind of check in with yourself before things come to this kind of real boiling point. So yes, that's just a little personal story from my time. The next card you have out is the beautiful High Priestess from my Alchemical tarot deck. This links to the alchemical process of dissolution of water. And the High Priestess is this real anima archetype. She bridges the unconscious and the conscious. She's seen here between these two pillars of light and dark. This is all about intuition. She is within the veil between the worlds. She can lift the veil between the worlds. It's all about like your dreams. She's very secretive, so it's about this secretive knowledge. It's about just things being more going on than is seen. And she's ruled by the moon, so it's about this kind of constant state of flux and mysteries. And you know, I just think that this is again linking to this idea, you know, of dreams that I've been talking about. You know, just pay attention to your dreams, because you know, the analytical sort of take on this card is that it is this kind of interplay of conscious and unconscious, self and shadow, and it really gives rise to this idea of self-mastery and an intuitive understanding and prophetic dreams and prophetic thoughts. So I really want you, if you're in pile 1, if you've been having a lot of intense dreams like I have, please pay attention to them, because you know, there is meaning there for you within your dreams, okay? And the universe is trying to communicate with you at the moment. So your next self-care oracle card you get out is this beautiful little guy here. This is a sort of Ouroboros symbol of this sort of this snake. Well, he's not really a snake. This is a dragon eating his own tail. And this is the self-care card of break the cycle. So really, what do you need to release, pile 1? How do we let go? You know, I said one idea of the bathtub earlier, letting the bath water flow out, but you know, it's difficult to know how to let go. And what do we want, where do we want to be, and who do we want to be when we re-enter the world? This is a moment where we can let go of things that don't serve us, and we can think about what we take forward for the future. And so this card is really asking you to break the cycle. There may be some kind of hidden elements with the High Priestess card that aren't serving you. Perhaps you have been ignoring your intuition on these things, and now you should go within and listen to that little niggling voice, listen to your intuition. You will be steered in the correct direction if you do that, and maybe there's something that you need to release. So maybe we should just have a look at what it could be that you need to release. So I don't know about you guys, but I've been playing a lot of board games at the moment. I'm by myself, so it's been a sort of a strange experience playing Scrabble, but I've got very, very good at it. Also Boggle, big favourite. So I was thinking I could like just sort of shape up these Scrabble letters, and maybe we could find a word or some kind of you know, what it is you need to release. Maybe we'll find out from the letters. So let's give it a go. Okay, so let's just, I'll pick out, how many should I pick out? I'll pick out like 3. Okay, so we've got a Boggle letter here. We have A, N, G, E, A, E. So we could make, what could we make? Gain. We could make egg. So maybe there's something to do with money, gain. Maybe you need to let go of your kind of need to make money, your need to gain from situations. You could sort of surrender that and just experience things and find enjoyment and without gain. Maybe egg. Maybe you need to release something that is like this idea of something that you've had that is impossible to actually bear reality. Maybe there's this like sort of idea of some kind of new start that is not going to happen for you, something like that. So that's the first one. Let's do a Scrabble letter. What have we got for the Scrabble? Oh my goodness, we've got a C. So I don't know what that could mean, but maybe you need to release something beginning with C. One more. Whoop. Let's see. So we've got a J, an M, an E, an F, an A. I don't know. You guys let me know in the description box below if that makes sense. Maybe some initials for you. Okay, so that's just a little extra thing I thought I would do. So yeah, what do you need to release? Now the next oracle card you have out is the self-care oracle card of doing a cleansing ritual. I don't know, can you see that? Hopefully you can see. This is an image of flames and a hand with a snake attached to the hand. And this is the idea of like pulling something out of this fire. So I really think doing some kind of ritual would be useful for you guys. Something that I've been doing recently, I did this on the new moon a few nights ago, is like I wrote down everything that I wanted to release as a list, and I actually do have the list here. What I like to do is I just like to write down lists, things I'm grateful for, things I want to release. The things I'm grateful for, I write that list and I don't refer back to it because I'd like to do that in the moment. Things I want to release, I love to write a list and then just sort of like set fire to them. And it's a very freeing thing to do. So this is a list that I wrote during the new moon. And now the new moon is a wonderful time to do a cleansing ritual because it's all about new energy, right? It's a good time to release. You can't see the moon in the sky, so it's about this idea of darkness that can kind of breed something new. So I'm just going to set fire to this now, and you know, obviously guys, if you do this at home, please do it safely. Bathtub is a great place to do all these things. You can drink champagne, you can set fire to your lists, you can talk to your friends, the plants, you can charge your crystals, everything. It's all about the bathtub. So yes, this is my list. I'm just gonna watch this burn for a second. So yes, I really feel pile 1, you know, that's everything I had through for you. So it's all about just release, isn't it? It's about you knowing that there is something within you that needs to be released, and it's sort of giving yourself permission to just say goodbye to that thing, and just, you know, it can be a very beautiful thing to do, to just surrender, and know what it is that is serving you. And, you know, self-care and self-love is all about what you deserve and what you won't sort of put up with anymore, and maybe there's something that needs to be let go of at this time for you. So that's really everything I have for pile 1. There we go. So now let's move on. Let's go ahead and move along to pile number 2. Hi pile 2, thanks for joining me today, beautiful pile 2s. Now you were attracted to this, this oyster shell. This is actually a souvenir from a romantic meal I had with a lover. To me, the oyster, it's all about luxury, isn't it, the oyster? Sexuality. It can also sort of signify to me that you might like this kind of lifestyle. It might be about lifestyle. You might enjoy fancy restaurants. You might enjoy sort of like these surface things of wealth and seduction. I don't know, I'm just getting this kind of slightly materialistic aspect for you. But as well as that, you know, and don't be triggered, please, take what resonates. But also, you know, if you think of the oyster shell, a tiny particle of dirt enters the oyster, and this then forms into a beautiful pearl. So for me, this is all about a process of taking an impurity or a negative or any kind of base element, and from it something beautiful forming. So it reminds me of kunsagi, that beautiful Japanese pottery, you know, where they repair it with the gold, where your breaks, you know, the points where you have breaks in your personality, or you have wounds in your personality. This is where the light can enter. This is where beauty can be found in imperfection. So, you know, a pearl is a wonderful example of finding beauty in imperfections. So, you know, something to do with maybe the surface for this pile, but also something to do with some kind of trauma that has led to something beautiful for you. So I don't know how that resonates, you know, you let me know in the description box below, but that's just my initial thoughts for pile 2. So let's go ahead and start with your reading. I pre-shuffled all the cards because I don't want any to fall in the bathtub. I don't know if I said that or not. So pile 2, your first card is from my Major Arcana Alchemical Tarot deck, and you get the Alchemical Tower Furnace. Now, the tower in tarot is always about rocking these unfirm foundations that we have built upon. It's about being liberated and set free. It's about everything that doesn't serve you falling away. It's about anything that's built on an unstable structure just crumbling. And it can feel intense, but it is always for your best interests. So in the Alchemical Tarot deck that I made, this is all about breaking through from the Nigredo, which is the darkening phase of alchemy, into the Albedo, which is the light phase of alchemy. And so this is about a kind of transformation, and it's about this kind of supreme archetype for death of the ego and the false identity, and a rebirth of the spirit. So the analytical aspect of this card is all about the end of old paradigms and a kind of cataclysmic and life-changing event which gives you insights. So I'm going to ask you, pile 2, what is important to you now? Is it, you know, going out for fancy meals, having oysters? What is it that is important for you? Maybe you were in a relationship and you've realised that that wasn't the important thing for you, or, you know, maybe you had a job and you don't want to go back to that job at the end of this time. You know, what is it that, you know, what does a fancy car have to do for you at this moment in time? And yeah, you know, who do you want to be when you re-enter the world? That's really what the Tower card is asking you, and also giving you the opportunity to address. Now this is interesting because in my my oracle, my self-care oracle deck, which is this new deck that I've been making, I actually have 2 cards for Attuned to the Moon, and both of these cards actually came out for your reading. So this is a really important message to you, and you see this beautiful pink behind this moon here with all the zodiac signs, hopefully you can see. And so I just think this is a very strong message to you, pile 2, that you need to transform. The moon is all about transformation. It's never fixed, it's never fluid, it's always sort of like changing. And so it's this energy of surrender, you know, surrender. And, you know, we can use the moonlight, her beautiful light, as a guide, and it can be linked to the archetype of the mother, and it's this 2-sided kind of triple goddess of Hecate. She's ambivalent, you know, she's neither good nor bad, she has all of these qualities, and it's about a balance of all of these qualities. And you know, the white stone, as it is sometimes called in alchemy, does kind of invoke this sort of successful transformation of self, and using the subconscious to transform. And so, you know, as I was saying, was it with this? No, it was the pile before. The moon cycles are really good times in order to do rituals. So new moon, right intentions, a full moon, think about what you want to let go of. Full moon is all about release, new moon is all about new beginnings. But basically this card is just asking you to really think about your horoscope, think about astrology, think about the moon in all sorts of ways, you know, archetypally, symbolically, physically. Go out and look at the moon, it's beautiful, you know. So that's just a message for you guys. I see that you've had this tower moment and that something needs to shift, and the moon is really there to help guide you through this experience and kind of to be your guide through this. Yeah. So the next card that I'm getting out for you from my Alchemical tarot deck is the beautiful star energy. So here we have Melusina, so alchemically speaking, the star is all about the purification by water. It's the second card of the albedo process, and it depicts Melusina, who is this kind of sea goddess. She's here, she's sort of riding on a whale, and she has these two fluids, streams of life flowing from her breasts. She has the blood and she has the milk, and she's sort of seen as this nymph and this siren who dwells in the watery realms, and she's descended from the whale in whose belly Jonah actually beheld the great mysteries, and so she's a water spirit and she's an anima figure, and she's a mercurial serpent. And so this phase in alchemy represents hope for future, for new life and possibilities. And so really after this tower moment that you've had, I just see this beautiful transformation. It's numinous, it's the moon and the stars, it's wonderful. It's about finding wonder again, connecting to your inner child, connecting to your sense of wonder, not allowing yourself to become cynical. Maybe you had some kind of cynicism, you know, you wanted this easy life of nice dinners and all of this, and the tower moment was this dark moment for you, this hard moment for you, and think of that then as this bit of grit that has entered the oyster shell that you used to love eating so much. And from this grit and this darkness of this tower moment, you're going to find your pearl. You're going to calcify. You're going to create something that is beautiful and worthy. And it's about self-worth. The pearl creates, the oyster creates the pearl within itself. So think of yourself creating self-worth within yourself from this difficult tower moment. So that's a really clear message that's just coming through from me. And you get, the oracle card you get is the card of nourish yourself. I don't know, hopefully you can see there's a hand here coming out of the sea, and it is holding this beautiful goblet of water. So I think, you know, at the moment, drink water. Very important to drink water. It really cleanses the body. It's the same way as I was saying about the bathtub and draining the water out with the bathtub. You know, drinking water does the same thing. It drains you of all your toxins, emotionally, physically. I don't know why, I'm just getting a sense that it could be good for you guys to actually drink warm water at the moment. Perhaps try drinking warm water in the mornings and the evenings, you know, that could be good. And I am drawn to this orange background, and maybe you should be taking vitamin C at the moment. Maybe a high dose of vitamin C could be useful. Maybe take as high dose as vitamin C as your body will handle. You know, make sure you check with a doctor, of course, but I just think it's very important for you to think about nutrition at the moment, okay? Water, vitamin C, fruit and vegetables, yeah, so that's that oracle card for you. And then at the back, your final card, we get the beautiful oracle card of, or is it? Yes, it is your final card. You get the beautiful oracle card of dance, and here you see a dance macabre played out. You see this skull, you see these skeletons dancing. And this is really a card about unity. The dance macabre affected everyone equally, you know. It's this idea of everyone being affected by something. You know, we are brought together by our hardships. We are isolated, but we are all isolated. We are brought together by our separateness. And, you know, what a great thing to do, to dance, to change your energy. You know, dance is such a good way of raising your vibration. I see music and dance being something that is going to be very healing for you. And just dancing around the kitchen by yourself, drink some Prosecco, drink some hot water, whatever it is that makes you feel good, and just dance around, sing and dance, why not? It is this transitional space, as I was talking about to begin with. You know, and we are all one. For anyone who is feeling lonely or separate at the moment, know that separation is really an illusion. And this time is all about us shedding these illusions. You know, with the Tower card, it's all about this idea of shedding illusions. We have many illusions in life. The illusion of youth, the illusion of age, the illusion of death. And we are, you know, throughout life, we are having to surrender to these things, you know, when we lose loved ones, when we ourselves die, when we have to give up our innocent youth. These are all losses and surrenders that link into this idea of the end of an illusion. But what's going on at the moment is we're confronted by the end of these illusions all at once. So we are confronted with our mortality. We're confronted by the fact that we aren't in control. And that's what the Tower card is about. It's about a force bigger than you having an impact over you. And obviously that can be difficult for the ego mind. You know, we're human after all, but we are, you know, we are spirit having a human encounter, a human experience. So know that everything that we're experiencing is this beautiful experience for us. And try to always see the beauty in that contrast. If we didn't feel bad, we wouldn't feel good. And, you know, we came here to experience all different emotions. That's just my take on it. So if you do ever feel sort of overwhelmed or like this out of control, you know, there are things you can control. You can have a beautiful bath, you can enjoy yourself, you can dance, you can still have fun, you know, and you can take control by looking after yourself, by keeping clean, eating well. So there are things you can do that will help you to feel more in control when things are so out of control. And so that's really everything I have for my pile 2. And oh, maybe for my pile 2, actually, I could just do the same. Again, I did this with pile 1. I've been playing a lot of Scrabble and Boggle by myself at home. I've really been enjoying my board games. And I thought it would just be fun. Maybe there'll be something here that resonates, just so that you know this reading was for you. For my pile 1, it was all about what they needed to let go of. For my pile 2, I feel that you are going through this transformation, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily something you need to let go of. I think it's more your whole way of viewing the situation that needs to shift. But let's see what comes up. Maybe there'll be some initials that make sense for you. So let's see. And let's pick out 3 letters for you. So from the Boggle, we have an O, an S, a C, an H, an A, a P, an S. So chaps, haps, has, Oh, and pass. So maybe there's something that needs to pass. Maybe there's something that needs to be left behind. Maybe there's something that from the past, I don't know. Or maybe there's some initials there for you. Let's get a Scrabble tile. So here we have the card O. So maybe that's significant. One more. A G. Okay? Hopefully that resonates. And that's really everything I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back when I'm back. You know, I'm not really sure yet, but I'll see you when I see you. Please do remember to drink water, guys, and take care of yourselves. And yes, be safe and be kind.